love them. You tell the people in your community that you really, really love them. Other people come over from another community and say, well, what, you don't love us?
I don't think so.
That mentality does not work. The act of love on our people is not an act of hate on the European. And most of our people have that attitude. When you talked about black history, they say, well, what about white history? I'm tired of this black stuff. I said, that's all you learn in the school system. Columbus discovered America. The founding fathers of this country, all you learn is about Europeans' history. The European, every time you turn on television, there's more Caucasians on the television than anybody. So we already learned enough of their story. We already got enough of his story. But if you say Black History Month, they're so bamboozled to say, well, y'all racist. How are we racist because we're concerned about ourselves? How is it a racist? Whenever black people talk about loving themselves, they're racist. You don't go and say that to the Chinaman when he has Chinatown. But if we go set up Blacktown, we looked at as terrorists. You see what I'm making? We're against the government. Why? Because we're against slavery. When a black man starts doing for himself, he is against the institution of slavery. He's against the government. Because the government is set up for the black man to be a slave. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? So when we say, if we go say we're going to set up a Blacktown, we're breaking the law. If we don't ask him for his permission. Ain't that deep? We have to be licensed by him and authorized by him to do anything. That's deep. That's really deep. So my point is that we have to change that mentality. Black love has nothing to do with hating Europeans. It has to do with loving ourselves, and it's time for us to do that. Because when we love ourselves, we'll solve the problems that exist in our community that would even allow us to be a hazard to other nationalities. Until we love ourselves, can we solve our own unique problems? And the European cannot solve all of our problems. He is incapable if he wanted to. If he was the most compassionate European on the planet of Earth, he could not solve our unique problems. It takes us to solve them. Do you understand the point I'm making? You go to Chinatown, and I do this all the time, and I go and ask them about herbs. Some of them refuse to speak English. They refuse to give up their culture. They refuse to compromise. Do you see the point? Because they're so focused on healing their people, which is a unique difference. The same amount of doses of medication for a Chinaman is different for a black person. A lot of times we're a lot taller. Sometimes we're a lot bigger. So we can't take the same dosage of medication that he do. He takes half the dose that we take with herbs. Do you see the point I'm making? We need twice the dose because of our size. You see the unique difference and the unique concern? So if he's constantly trying to treat his people in that unique situation, in that unique state, how is he going to start treating other people that are different? He would have to somehow neglect, because everything is not universal, because we are different. Do you see the point I'm making? So our problems aren't universal. While we might want universal love, which is not wrong in and of itself, but it's not practical. Do you see the point I'm making? Because you can't learn universally in an unequal situation. Do you follow what I'm making? You need particular and unique and specific love, specific attention to solve unique problems. Do you see the point I'm making? Our black people say, well, let's get together in our own community and start solving some of these problems that's going on with black people. You know what they say? What, you hate white people? That's immediately what comes to their mind. When you say, well, let's work together as a black people. What, y'all racist or something? No, we have unique problems that we must solve. When you work with the European, his problems get solved. You go to work Monday morning, you work for the corporations, you work for the police stations, you work for his problems are getting solved. The war in Iraq was his problem. That was Bush's problem. That wasn't our problem. His problems are being solved by our working with him, by working with his institutions. Our problems go unsolved. His problems are being solved every day. We're the ones constantly hollering out that we have the problems. But his problems are being solved. So when I look and I see organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, I understand their unique position of them trying to solve their unique problems. They have different problems, even based on the position that black people supposedly have. They say, well, the black people are getting all the jobs. Just like I hear Mexicans say, the Mexicans are getting all the jobs. But then I go and then ask, who are giving these jobs? Forget people giving jobs. We need to start creating for ourselves. Quit depending on a government and a system that's dividing all people against each other. And we all, as human beings, need to step up and just start doing for ourselves. The government is creating these race issues. It's turning this nationality of people against that nationality of people, thinking that it's a race problem. And on top, the Illuminati and these different rich families are capitalizing off our disagreements against one another, instead of us empowering ourselves as the individual groups that we are to just simply start solving our own problems and stop depending on some one entity, some melting pot. It's unrealistic to say this one institution can ever grant liberty for all people. It cannot. It's never going to. It's not able to do that. It cannot grant liberty for all human beings, because each human being needs a different type of liberty. Because you can't liberate this person to practice their culture if liberty to you means the very manifestation of your culture. You cannot ensure liberty for all people, even if you try. It's impossible. Because when this person's culture is different from yours, you say, wait a minute now, you can't do that.
Exactly.
You can't, you can't set that up. So they're incapable of granting liberty to all people. Then let's go beyond Americanism. Let's look at the international perspective. They say, God bless America. Well, America is composed mainly of Europeans. Black people are 12% of the population. So if God bless America, then it's knocked out all of our other ancestors. Why don't God bless Africa? But if we stand up in the public school system and say, God bless Africa, if we say, God bless Africa, now we're terrorists. Now we have no patriotism to the government. So us having patriotism to our Nubian black brothers and sisters in Sudan, do you see the point I'm making? In South Africa, during the apartheid, our patriotism to those different people, our love of our own people, can be considered treason against the government. Isn't that nonsense?
It's nonsense, bro.
So our patriotism to America is patriotism to white supremacy, to the predominant male European society. It's patriotism to him. Because as soon as we say, man, God bless Africa, don't let him be going to war with one of them African countries. Don't let us say, God bless Libya.
They was just in Somalia.
That's deep.
They was just in Somalia. And they was fighting over there. And they was killing some brothers over there.
Don't say God bless Somalia or God bless Libya when Gaddafi was not about peace. Now you are speaking against the American government. That doesn't work. So he's not ensuring liberty for all black people. The best way that the European can ensure liberty for other nationalities and races of people is simply to leave them alone. That's the best way to ensure liberty. Leave them alone altogether. A lot of them, if you know that they don't have the power to really do nothing to you, so you're just playing a bullet. You got nuclear weapons and this big army. These little countries have no power to do nothing. So leave them alone. Let them have their liberty. Let us rebuild Africa. Let us rebuild the black man's nation. Let us rebuild our societies. Let us do that. Quit being so insecure that if we build something, it's going to be something against you. Only the European thinks like that. We just want to build to get our people to a balanced state of having resources and having things and being able to do for themselves. That's what we want to do for our people. So don't go and make that non-patriotism. That doesn't work. So this home of the free and land of the brave represents who? It represents the majority. It is a democratic society.
There you go.
And the majority of this society of people that are in power are the Europeans. So it cannot ensure liberty for all. And for the European to even try to do that is so arrogant. It says we have ordained these laws to be self-evident. You know, that this is ordained by God. Wait a minute, it was only so many men there when you was writing it. What about all the other billions of people on earth? How can you ordain these laws to be whatever? Who gave you that power to do that? That's an ego trip in and of itself. How can that document be the Constitution when that document cannot constitute no human being? Ain't no man going to walk up out of that document. So the Constitution has nothing to do with a piece of paper. The Constitution of human beings is the reality of that they exist. Do you see the point I'm making? It has nothing to do with no documentation. So these people get together and say, these are the laws. God bless America. That's arrogance. If this European wants peace, if he wants world peace, then he needs to stop creating war. Simply leave people alone. Leave other nationalities alone, other ethnicities alone. Just leave them alone. They have not, when he came on the scene, the Native American was not trying to kill the Europeans. He was friendly to them before they put smallpox in the blankets. They fed them and treated them with courtesy and kindness. And what did he show in return? He snatched their land and indoctrinate them. So come on. It doesn't work. Europeans didn't try to enslave them. There's no one case of a Native American trying to enslave a European. I've never heard one of those situations. So it is not the nature of no other man to enslave and create such brutality on human beings as it is the European. We see it in Germany. We see it in America. And it has even affected the pale people of other races. When you see the caste system in India, the light-skinned Indian versus the dark. When we see Chairman Mao going in on the Tibetans. You see the point I'm making? The Tibetans are very darker kind of people. And we see the lighter Chinese Mao and the rest of them go and run in on the Tibets. And destroy their temples and destroy their society. We see the same type of pale situation happening all over the planet. Unable to live and let live. It's impossible. Now, the Europeans come out of the same insecurity to help. It's the same insecure attitude. You cannot help. The best way you can help is leaving people of other nationalities and ethnicities alone. That's the best way you can help. And if you really need to help, wake up your own people and tell them to leave other people alone. If you can do that, that is the real work of the European today. If he has a work to do, it's educating his own people on how to leave people alone. You know, people get together as a gang and say they're about to go mess up some people. And you got a few good people in the group that say, just leave him alone. You know what I'm making? That's what the European needs to do today. Now, of course, he can come and appreciate the other cultures and other advancements of other societies and other benefits. Just like Western medicine borrowed from Native American medicine, but didn't give any credit for it. Of course, he can come and experience the advancement and benefits of other cultures. But when you experience those advancements and benefits, leave them alone. Leave them like you found them. Feel the point I'm making? If you can just do that, then the world will be in total harmony and total peace. So that's the part that I want to speak about, achieving this fourth dimensional consciousness of love and purity for all human beings on the earth. If we can reach that level of consciousness, then we can have peace. Any other questions on that subject? I want to open up for questions before you all leave. Maybe you all have questions or some ideas you want to bring to the table.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. Or maybe just a discussion topic. I think a huge part of my generation and people generationally in my age group is that we don't, a lot of the folks I've grown up with don't identify by the same heritage that their parents or their grandparents used to. So, for example, I know Phil and myself are Sicilian. That's a little bit of what I was raised with, but not a lot. And particularly my father is Swedish. There's really no culture that has been carried down. We don't have the tradition. And that bothers me. It almost makes me want to start new traditions based on people that are in my genetic family and also in my family and friends. But I think what's happened with America is that people without traditions to carry on, without their people and their tribe, so to speak, have kind of been supplemented by what the media has to give us. So they say, okay, well, you don't have that anymore. Here, buy these things, buy into a tradition, buy into wealth, buy into a music scene.